how well do you understand Agile methodologies in software development? And what impact does it have on product delivery? Today, we'll dive deep into this topic with Grace. She's a lead program manager, and she's going to share with us our experience, insight, and good practices. Let's get started. Hi, Grace.
Hi, Aisha.
It's good to have you here.
Nice meeting you too.
Thank you. Personally, I am thrilled to have you here. You know, checking your LinkedIn profile, I see that you have first class in computer science.
Oh,
yes. Like, how did you do that?
Well,
you must be very, 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 very intelligent. Of
that
course.
was actually many years ago, but yeah.
But here you are now. Can you just tell us a bit about your experience so far in the tech space?
Okay, my name is Grace. I've worked in the tech space for about 11 years now. And I started out as a software quality assurance analyst.
Okay.
And currently I work as a program manager, and I love to work with teams to deliver quality products and ensure that we align our product delivery cadence with the company's strategy. Wow. So that's what I do day to day.
Wow, I love that.
Thank you.
All right. So for our listeners who are, some people might just be hearing Agile for the first time. So, and there are also some experts that are they don't really know much about Agile methodologies or development. So can you just give like a bit core principles of Agile development?
Okay, so the Agile delivery methodology is a way of working.
Okay.
So many organizations try to do Agile, but they try to do it putting systems and structures in place first. Okay. But I tell you, it begins in the mind. It's a way of working. It's a way of thinking about work. Okay. It's a way of thinking about delivering value to the customer. Okay. So one of our very first core principles is to ensure that on a continual basis, we deliver quality software to the customers. Okay. So we keep on increasing on value delivery. Okay. So we also have some other core values, like, of course, ensuring that the teams that work together are motivated individuals. Okay. So if you really want the teams to do quality work, you must ensure that they are motivated. It could be inner motivation, it could be external motivation, but one way or the other, they really need to be happy doing what they are doing so that they can deliver value on time and make the customer very, very happy. So we put the customer first in the Agile way of working. And of course, the word iterative delivery comes into play, meaning that we take a bit of work, we take it into the teams, we give it a timeline, and then we release it to the customer. Okay. So we do that in quick successions. So we can take, for example, maybe 2 or 3 weeks of work. We work on it. We do it from start to finish, more like, and ensure that it is valuable. Okay. Okay. So the word valuable is very, very important. So we are not just doing activity. Okay. We're ensuring that what we are doing is giving value to the customer, and the customer is always happy. Right. So one of the things it also helps us to do is that we take feedback. So one of the keywords in Agile is fail fast. So once you take something to the customer, you get feedback, you are able to bring that feedback back into the product before building something complex, right? You're able to bring feedback from the customer and ensure that you help the customer improve on what you have delivered. Okay. All right. One of the other principles as well is simplicity. So we call it maximizing the value or maximizing the amount of work not done. Okay. Yes. So it looks like it's upside down.
Expand that? Yeah.
Yes. So maximizing the amount of work not done, meaning that you don't have to do a lot. Okay. So everybody should focus on one thing and do it well. Okay. All right. So simplicity, keep it simple. Don't make it complex. If you want to enable one feature for the customer, how long will the work take? Maybe like a week. Okay. Take it into the work from design to delivery, to deployment, to production. Okay. Make sure you finish everything within 1 week. Okay. So keep it simple so that you don't complicate matters, because software projects can really get complex if you keep building without shipping products.
All right. So you mentioned a lot of things, and I would like to ask one after the other. So you talked about the team willing to work. So, sometimes you can't even you don't know their mind. Some people are just there for the money, not for the work itself. So, and you can't really force them to do the job, which I know that is where Agile come in. So you can get feedback from time to time from the team, right? So now, can we say that Agile also helps with collaboration? Can we say that?
Yes. So we have something we also call the core values of Agile teams. Collaboration is one of it. Okay. And then the other one is commitment. So if you are not going to be committed, then you shouldn't be in an Agile team. Okay. Because when you're taking up a stream of work
Okay.
You are committing to delivering it within a definite and defined timelines.
Okay.
We call it estimates.
Okay.
So you can either fall short, meaning that you maybe take 1 or 2 extra hours or days,
Okay.
or maybe you even deliver faster than planned. So, but then you are committed to focusing on that one thing within that period of time. So yes, we have commitment, we have collaboration.
Okay.
So when we form Agile teams, for example, we do not put only software engineers in Agile teams. So we have people like me who work as Scrum Master, as an Agile coach.
Okay.
We have the software tester. We have some other people that we call shared services, meaning that if you want, maybe you need a new database to be set up for your
like
production.
The DevOps person.
We have the DevOps person.
Okay.
So different people come in to support the team. So collaboration is something you cannot do without. One of the other very important principles I would have spoken about is face-to-face conversations.
Okay.
So in Agile teams, we ensure that we have face-to-face conversations. So even though we know that the world has gone global, everybody's working remotely. So one of the things I learned recently is even though you are working remotely, please put on your cameras and let's see your face.
Oh, really?
Yes.
People like me that don't want to show my face. Like, what am I supposed to do?
So we want to be sure that you're with us and we want to feel your energy. We want to read your body language. We want to see, yes. So,
but you can see my work. You can see what I'm doing. So why do you want to see my face again?
So that's what I'm saying, that face-to-face conversations are very important. So I've had experiences where I'm typing something on Teams or Zoom or WhatsApp and it's looking like we are fighting.
Wow.
Do you understand? So the way the sentences are coming back to back, it's looking like there's war. Everybody's about to fight.
Okay.
But then moments will come on a call. Right.
That will take me to a question.
Yes. So the negative energy kind of dissolves and everybody kind of, understands. So even though I'm sounding like this on text, actually my tone is not that hard. Right? So I might be saying, are you serious? It's different from when I type,
are you serious?
So even though sometimes we don't turn on cameras, but the fact that I pick up my phone to make a call, it makes a whole lot of difference. Even when I want to ship a product and there's somebody trying to review, asking a lot of questions and I'm answering, and the moment I get tired, I remember that face-to-face conversations are better. Or maybe just pick up my phone and call, and then within a minute or two, I get my approval. So those are the things that, helps us to work together, collaborate seamlessly, and ensure that there's little to no friction or conflict within the team.
So that takes me to a question. Now, you talked about conflict now, and maybe like you talking to a team member and it feels like you are pressuring them or something. So now we know that when you're working with team, the project manager especially, they'll be on your neck like, I need you to deliver this project in 1 week. And we work with sprint. And of course, you might want to explain what sprint is to some of our listeners. So, work with sprint within 2 weeks to 1 week. And you want a feature to be delivered. This feature might take more than 2 weeks, if we are being honest. And we want quality software, we want quality feature. So now, how would you work successfully with a team? I don't want to use just developer now, with a team within that period of time, without fighting, without having issues, and everybody putting themselves in their mind oh, this project manager, what I would do for her, stuff like that. So what would you say? You can use your personal experience.
Yes. So I mentioned earlier that when you're putting an Agile team together, you need to have committed and motivated individuals. So that means that you also trust them to do the work.
Okay.
So one of the things the core values is also trust. The core values is trust.
Okay.
So when you tell us this thing is going to take 4 days, we believe you.
Okay.
All right. So we don't, sometimes try to beat it down. We're not pricing markets. It's your work. You're a professional. You're a professional software engineer. So if you tell us it's going to take 4 days, and sometimes we have senior engineers in the house. So when we are doing estimates, in the ideal environment, we have cards on the table. So 2 or 3 engineers can weigh in to say, for me, if I'm going to do this work, it will take me 4 days.
Okay.
This other guy will say it will take me 6 days.
Okay.
This other guy will say it will take me 2 days. So find an average of that. So because how long it will take is dependent on the experience of the person working on it.
Definitely.
So sometimes we bring in, people to weigh in, and then we'll find an average so that we can find a balance. So we also ensure that we put in the right environment to ensure that they deliver.
Okay.
Right. So if you're working in an environment where to ship software from the engineer's laptop to production is like jumping bridges, it's going to be difficult. And that's why DevOps practices are very, very important in Agile teams, and ensuring that there's a pipeline that makes shipping code as seamless as possible. You don't even need to think about it. Just click a button and your code is live.
Yeah.
All right. So we must put in the right environment. So I'm saying this because it's not just about pressuring the person. You need to ask yourself, have I enabled him to work? Have I given him everything he needs? And that is where sometimes my role comes in.
Okay.
As a Scrum Master or Agile coach, we also do what we call removing blockers.
Okay.
So every day when we come for a daily stand-up meeting, we ask you, what is the challenge? What did you do yesterday? What are you doing today? And what blockers do you have? So anything that is going to hinder you from delivering as planned, as based on your commitment, it's my responsibility or everybody's responsibility to ensure that we resolve it within that daily stand-up meeting. Yeah. So it's not just, a status update. That is where we collaborate, and that is where we also show that we are transparent. Yeah. So if you are trying to work on something and it's difficult, you don't need to form.
Just speak out.
Just speak out. I've been struggling with this thing for 4 hours. 4 hours is a lot of work. If you convert it to American time.
You always dollars.
So maybe because you don't track working hours here in Nigeria, sometimes it looks like we are not really conscious of time. But you've tried something for 4 hours, you've tried it for 1 day, and you're not speaking up, then you are the blocker.
Yes.
Right. Yes. So before we go into the sprint, we ensure that all these things have been, enforced into the team. Everybody understands how we work. Everybody is as committed as possible. People are not working on 2 projects at the same time. Focus is important. So as soon as you have ensured all of that, then you can talk about delivering as planned. So we take a stream of work into a timeline like a week or 2, and that is what we call sprints. So before we go into the sprints, we bring out the work, we estimate it. It is not that the boss said you must deliver this in 2 weeks. It is that the engineer said, based on the understanding I have and based on everything I think I know and understand, I will do A, B, C, D, and it will take me 4 days. And then we cater for testing time within that 4 days, because it's not just skill ready, it is production ready at the end of that sprint. All right. So we have so we ensure that we plan, we get everybody's committed, and we focus on it, and we respect the engineer's time, and we give them everything they need to succeed.
Wow, that's great. So that will take me to another question, where you talked about DevOps now, like understanding DevOps now, where the board, of course, comes in. Working as a project manager or a program manager, you want to track what each person is working on. So now we have Kanban, we have other frameworks like I think
Scrum.
Yeah.
Yes.
So now, if you are to advise a team, like, oh, use this one, or which one would you tell them to go for, depending on their needs?
So I've tried both before with teams I've worked with. There was a time when we were trying to get engineers, hardware engineers, to adopt the Agile way of working. And, they broke work into sprints, but then you see that they keep on rolling over work from one sprint to another. So it means that they've probably not understood how to break down their work, or maybe they don't understand how to estimate well yet, or maybe they just think, let's start, we want to deploy 10 servers, we'll install operating system on the 10 servers, and then after 10 days, we'll install antivirus on the 10 servers. So rather than taking in 3 servers and doing everything you need to do, and ensuring that those 3 servers are ready for whoever wants to use it. So they kind of spread the work. And so that mindset made it difficult for them to deliver on their commitment. So we stepped back a little and we took on the Kanban way of working. So for Scrum, that's where we use sprints. That's where you time box your delivery. And it can be like 1 week or 2 weeks. Typically, for my organization, we do 2 weeks of sprint. And we take a bunch of work into the 2 weeks. At the end of 2 weeks, we review. And then, like I said, when you see that the team is rolling over work from one sprint to another, we try to, take a step back to see what can be done better. So we went into the Kanban way of working just to see what the problem might be. So Kanban actually is for more mature teams, where you are not running after people and you're not trying to put them under pressure of time. So a Kanban board is set up, and it has core principles behind it. For example, you cannot have maybe more than 1 ticket in progress on a Kanban board. So it's almost like a Scrum board, but it's not time boxed. And then the core principle is that it's for mature teams. You trust them to deliver as planned, but then you cannot take 2 or 3 things and say it's in progress. It's not possible. So we try to limit work in progress on Kanban boards. So, but when it comes to the scaled Agile methodology, which is safe.
Okay.
So it's for organizations where we have what we call value streams, where like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 teams are working on related products.
Okay.
For example, I like to give the example of Facebook, for example. So Facebook is one product, but then we have people probably working on the AI part of it. We have those working on the meta part of it. Maybe some other people are working on maybe the actual app where people are chatting. The chat module. Some other people are working on the marketing module. Some other people are enabling SMEs. They all need to be in sync so that the products will not scatter. Do you understand? So we have team of teams. I would call it like Scrum of Scrums. So we have Scrum teams, and then Scaled Agile allows you to bring them together to plan quarterly. And in an event we call it PI planning. It's a 2-day event. Everybody comes together, focus on planning and ensuring that we understand the business strategy and we are aligning our deliveries, with the business strategy, and as well as knowing that I'm dependent on the other team. The other team is dependent on me. So we plan together to ensure that we're in sync and everybody is maximizing the time. So for example, if I need to wait for you for a delivery, I know when to, arrange my work. So it helps us to sequence and arrange our works in our delivery in a better way. So that's what the Scaled Agile methodology helps us to do. So similar teams working on similar products or products that are interwoven work together, or rather plan together. And then, of course, every 2 weeks, we do what we call the art sync, like a sync meeting where the product managers for those teams come together to review how work is going and some other kind of synchronizations.
That must be very, very hectic.
Yes.
To be honest, because that's more like working on in a larger organization.
Yes, so for larger organizations, that's what is recommended.
Wow. So, I wanted to ask about how Agile can actually scale through in a larger organization. And I think you already explained part of it.
Yes.
I don't know if you have other things you want to discuss, or that's just like...
Yes, so when we are forming an Agile team, there's a limit to the number of people that should be in a team. We must begin to have like 20 people. That has become a crowd.
Wow.
And so it's better to streamline the work and maybe just break it into 2 teams. So because if you have 20 people, the daily stand-up meetings will go beyond 15 minutes. It becomes a lying down meeting. Everybody just lies down, So we try to ensure that we break the teams into smaller teams. So the moment you see that your team is growing larger, you have more things to deliver, then the leadership will need to go into a planning session to see how the teams can be structured so that they are more focused on something smaller. Yes. So so once they do that, then you must now ensure that each of the teams have the roles they need to succeed. So for example, each of the teams should have their own quality assurance analyst, tester, if possible. Because if you have 2 or 3 engineers, then you should have at least 1 software tester. You can even have 1 manual tester and 1 automated tester within that small team. So, but if you are sharing resources, then you are going to be blocking one another, whether you like it or not. You believe it or don't believe it. Yeah, so when you are trying to structure your teams, you must be sure that each of the teams have the roles they need to succeed. Right, so you can sometimes share resources like UI UX designers, database engineers, like I mentioned, even the DevOps engineers can sometimes support 1, 2, 3 teams. But for the core software engineers and testers working on the features, it is better that they are focused on one thing and collaborating together to ensure that they deliver quality and they are not blocking one another. So when you're structuring a larger organization, you break down the product features into smaller sizes of teams, ensure the smaller teams have the roles that they need to succeed, and then of course you can go live and do trainings as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
All right. So for companies, or let me say organizations or teams that are not used to the Agile methodologies or software or development, like they are just used to traditional way, and they come to you like, oh, we want you to transition our way of handling project. We want you to transition into an Agile way. What are the things you would tell them to get, like maybe the software they need, the tools that they need, and how they can go about it?
All right. So the first thing I would do in that kind of organization is to get the leadership team on the same page with me, maybe as an Agile coach. Meaning that we first have to go into a strategy session. Why do you want to adopt the Agile way of working? What do you want to achieve? What are your problems? Maybe Agile is not the solution. Yes, so because sometimes a lot of organizations say, let's do Agile, we're going to do Agile, and then they get disappointed So Agile is not necessarily the tools first. It's the way of thinking about your strategy, how you want to win in the market, and how you want to impress your customers, and how you want to do better than your competition, and how you want to quickly fail fast and, you know, deliver value faster to the customer. Yes, so the leadership needs to understand how Agile teams work. Because what happens today is if the leadership is on a different side of Oga Boss kind of methodology, it's never going to work, because they will keep interrupting the process, and they will keep, you know, collecting features or collecting demands from big customers and then just passing it down. Get this thing done in 1 week without considering what the teams can do or whether they're even ready for that, without considering the product management side of things. Yes, so the leadership first. So we do what we call change management processes, trainings, where we talk to the leaders to ensure that they understand what the Agile way of working means. And a lot of times you put the power in the hands of the engineer. So if you have a team you don't trust, then you may as well just tell everybody to resign and hire a team you trust and that you are paying well. Right. Yes. So they must be motivated. So you need to have a team you trust, and you need to trust them to do the work. So it's not just about the pressure. You can't pressure a software engineer. If you pressure a software engineer, he will do the work, but there are salient bugs that will never come to light until maybe it gets to production. Yes, so start with the leaders. We do trainings, we do interactions, we understand the business directions, and then after the leaders are all aligned, then we come to maybe the leaders of the software teams that are being proposed. So we look for maybe who the senior architect is, and then we try to structure at least one team. So you can start with one team. So this team is now doing Agile. So let's see how it works for them. So before you now scale it to the entire organization, so let's see how it works with 1 or 2 teams. So you try that out for maybe 3 months, and then you review the outcomes. You see if you are getting the right results. You learn from your mistakes, and then you improve on that. So the moment you are able to get traction from that team, you are achieving, you know, continuous delivery. You're delivering valuable software to the customers, or even anything you're doing. You can do Agile with any kind of product. So at the moment you achieve your goal, then you can scale it to other teams, you know, other teams in the organization. And like I said, you need to structure the teams in a way that it has everything it needs to succeed. There's a keyword we use in Agile, which is called self-organizing. So Agile teams are self-organizing teams. You don't need to go and talk to anybody outside the team to get work done. So that means everybody can be a leader. Everybody's a leader. Everybody understands what's going to happen. Everybody's in line with the strategy. Everybody knows what the customer's pain point is, and they are all aligned like that. So it takes a while before the teams get to that point where they are high-performing teams. But of course, it's a journey. So but as long as the team remains together
and they are ready to like improve,
learn, and they're transparent, they are growing in trust, and then they have a good facilitator in terms of the program manager or the scrum master. I'm sure that they're going to learn. So at a point, they become high-performing teams. But one of the challenges teams have is that there's a lot of attrition going on. So while everybody here is trying to, you know, work together, after 1 to 3 months, I understand the way you work, you understand how I work, we have come to, you know, synchronize, we can collaborate better, and then suddenly 2 people resign, and then 2 other people come in. So what happens is that team that was doing well, everything they have learned, they have to relearn it. Because there are 2 new people that have joined the team that probably don't understand how they work. And that's where sometimes for such organizations, the role of the Scrum Master always remains, because your goal as a Scrum Master or Agile program manager is not to be at the center of the team. Your goal is to ensure that they mature to a point where they can self-organize and they can thrive without you, actually. But then because people keep going and coming, we keep needing to do trainings, we keep needing to come back to the place where we say, let's agree on how we work as a team. We keep trying to, you know, re-emphasize the core values and the principles and all of that. So it keeps us in the work.
So you talked about new people coming in and people resigning. I think that's where most companies now, they will tell you, you must have an experience in this, experience in Agile, experience in, so they don't have to like really train you and all of that. Do you think that's fine, or the company can just bring in someone that doesn't even know what Agile means?
Okay, so human beings are not machines. So we are different we are individuals. Our individualities come to play in the way we work. So I once worked with a young man many years ago, that's about 10 years ago, that he was a front-end engineer. And I was a software tester.
Okay.
So this guy would take in work 2 week sprints. For the first 1 week, you will not see anything. He won't give you anything. I'm like, bros, how far? Can I get something to test?
To test.
And it's like, chill, very quiet guy. So you might deliver on like the 7th day.
Wow.
And then you're like, oh my God, I'm going to get overwhelmed.
Mm-hmm.
But what happens is, because he took his time to do the work, it's almost spotless. Like it's very, very quality work. Like you're overwhelmed with joy. You try to look for the bugs and you don't find it. So after a while, I calmed down. Like, take your time.
Take your time.
We are not going to be fighting over nothing. I'm not going to put you under pressure because I know that's what, it's not the ideal way of working, but you just realize that you can't put him under pressure and then just accept. So you see how our individualities come into play where we work. But for somebody coming in, you know, we had new program managers coming in and, you know, they try to, you know, talk to the team and then they notice that guy and they're like, talk to him now. Talk to him. Like, just leave him. We can't force him. He needs to probably understand how to deliver in smaller chunks. But then until he gets there, we're going to keep learning together. So that's what you know, we do.
Yeah. Thank you. So I have a personal experience and I would like to talk about that. So you know, in a case where, okay, let me just talk about my experience. So I'm working with a team and just because probably there's reason for them to change a feature. The feature is not out yet. We're already working on it. But they feel like, oh, we need to change this design or something. And of course, we are supposed to end this sprint by 2 weeks. And you are changing design again. Something that I already like started with, and you're changing the design. In your own experience, do you think it's ideal for you know, in a team, we should just change designs or change feature when we are still working on it, or we just need to push that out first? Then we can now come back and say, okay, or maybe that will go an MVP, and okay, let's have another MVP where we can just change this feature. I mean, what would you advise? Would you advise that we can change it when we are working on it at that moment, or maybe that we can push that out and then change later?
Yeah. So one of the core principles of Agile is responding to change over following a plan.
Okay.
As much as we discourage the need to, you know, do something that is different from the plan in the middle of a sprint, we must be sure that we are not working for the Agile framework, but the framework is working for us.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
So the framework needs to work for us.
Okay.
So many times when people talk about Agile, you see that people take it in and then they kind of adjust it to suit what works for them.
Okay.
Yeah. So if in the middle of a sprint, a 2 week sprint, after 5 days, you probably got a feedback from a customer that what you're doing is no longer relevant.
Okay.
I think it's not bad to say, guys, let's just chill.
Okay.
Let's take a step back and let's take feedback from the customer. So it's not somebody's feeling, it is the customer. It's not a boss somewhere that says, this looks like, can we do something more nice?
Can you use another color?
You know, so this is the customer's voice coming to play, or the clients. So imagine you're working in a consulting company and then a demo happens while the sprint is going on, and then something happens and then something needs to change. You should welcome it. So you should respond to change. But what should happen is that everybody should know the costs. Time is wasted. Of course. So you need to choose your battle. Do you want to, you know, continue and deliver what is not relevant to the end? Or would you rather just stop now and take feedback and align together and just plan again? So, you know, you just need to choose your battle. So I think it's fine as long as everybody aligns on why and everybody understands that the voice of the customer is very important in deciding your directions as a team. So it should work for you. It should work for the product. It should work for the organization.
All right.
So it's not a religion.
All right. Thank you for that. Okay. I think I'll just take that as my own personal,
feedback.
All right. So lastly, can you just share us like a real life story, or like, I mean, your experience in delivering a successful product and how it feels, what it takes, and all of that?
Yes. So I was actually going to talk about delivering products in an agile way.
Okay.
So one of the things I've seen is that a lot of times when we want to start a new product, for example, we have so many fantastic ideas.
Okay.
I want to do 200 things at the same time. So, but one of the things I learned recently from the Silicon Valley product group in product management is that MVP is not like 3 months of work. MVP should be like 2 weeks or even 1 month worth of work, and doesn't even need to be a working software.
Okay.
Your minimum viable prototype can be something as little as good as a Figma design.
Okay.
It can be something that you have sketched on paper and you have run it through, with a customer.
Okay.
All right. So choosing your MVP carefully is very, very important to delivering successful software projects. Another thing that happens is when you don't get to a point where you have something to celebrate, the motivation drops.
True.
So when you put engineers on a stream of work for 6 months, you see the wear and tear. You see that it's like labor for nights and days, and there's nothing joyful. There's nothing to rejoice about yet. There's nothing the customer is seeing and using yet. So when we talk about Agile, it's not just to be doing sprint and scrum and using Jira. It is that you have decided to break your minimum prototype down. You know that bicycle design that people used to talk about. You want to design a bicycle, you start with a skating board, and then you increase it gradually. Just make sure it's working and the customer is seeing it. That gives joy to the developers. It keeps the team motivated.
True.
So for me, those are the things I'm putting together and putting it in my archive so that when I start my consult business, maybe. But I really see a lot of engineers burning out because they don't see things going out, even though they have labored for months. Sometimes some of them just resign. Let me go and find something more interesting to do. Yeah, so the teams should, from the product perspective, define your MVP. Let it really be an MVP. Maximum of 2 months. Let something go out to the customer. So in a case where you have a competing product already out there, it's okay, but just do it. Facebook has been live for many years before WhatsApp came in, and it didn't start with a lot of features, right? True. They chose they selected their own playing field, and then they built something minimal, and then they went live with it. Yeah. So you can do that, all right? Yeah. So for me, my experience, I'm still even working on the product. A product can take years to become mature, or to even have all the features. Like you give it to a baby. It will take like maybe 10 years before the child understands a lot of things about life. And you keep building, it keeps growing. So there was a product we needed to deliver in my place of work. And I work in a fintech. And when you come to financial transactions, you have different kind of transactions, maybe cash withdrawal, ATM withdrawal, POS transactions, bill payments online. Yeah. So different things come into play. So we're trying to build a system where we're able to, tell the customers the status of their transactions. So the question is, which transaction sets should we start with? Because all those transactions have different pathways. Do you understand? So to get that data together is kind of a lot of work. So rather than going for 10 transactions types at once, we started with 1. And that one took like 4 months. And in the middle of the 4 months, we had to, learn a new database technology. Okay. We needed to use a database that could do big data, transactions really fast. Okay. Because we're talking about transactions here. So we couldn't use the traditional SQL database. We decided to use a new database. We tried to use database one way. After like 2 months, it didn't work. So we tried to use it another way. And then the 3rd month, we had a breakthrough. Okay. So it's a learning curve. Even the engineers sometimes are discovering. Yeah, definitely. Do you understand? So with that, with the teams learning, everybody sitting down together, we had times where we co-located and really had to come together to, work together night and day to ensure that there are no blockers and everybody's motivated and, working together. So in 4 months, we were able to at least move that product to the front of the customer. Wow. Yes. So the lesson from that is, okay, of course, reduce what you're chasing. Make sure that you have something. So what is our biggest problem? Okay. Pick that biggest problem. Can you solve it in a short while? Do you understand? Yeah. So just focus on that one thing and deliver it in a shorter period before you move on to other things. So what we did was we took, another one I saw was we took our largest set of transactions and then we dealt with it first. So it's one of those 10, but that one was impacting more customers, maybe like 70% of the customers. Wow. Do you understand? So that decision-making process must be very clear from the onset, from my experience. Defining your MVP, ensuring the teams are working together day to day and they are learning. And then when they learn, make sure they learn and fail fast. Take the feedback from that process and go into another iteration of learning. And that's the way to ensure teams are delivering quality.
Wow.
And you're not disappointing your customers.
Definitely. Customer first.
Yes, the customer first.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Like, this is a really, really nice and insightful topic. And thank you. Do you have are you on Twitter? Like,
yes, I am.
You're on Twitter. So can our audience reach out to you if they weren't, or maybe
yes,
they have
my
questions?
Twitter handle is grace001.
Okay.
Yes.
And LinkedIn?
On LinkedIn, my name is Grace Akinshola.
Right.
On Instagram, I'm not active.
Texas, tech woman, not Texas, tech woman.
Yeah.
Right. Thank you so much for honoring our invite.
It was really nice speaking with you.
Honored, sitting with a first-class person.
Ah.
Easy now. Yeah, thank you so much.
All right, thank you so much.
Yeah,
it was nice speaking with you. Thanks for the engagement.
Yeah, same.
Well
thank
done.
you. Yeah. All right. So this topic is not just for beginners. Even as an expert, you probably don't have more knowledge about Agile methodology. So ensure you check it out, check this video out again. And for you to get more insightful topics like this, follow us on our socials, on Instagram, on LinkedIn, on Twitter and YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, like and share with your friends. Don't watch it alone. Your friends, some of your friends want to have a startup and they don't know how to start. So this can also help them, and even you. All right. Until later, or see you next time. Bye.